Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is Paddock Live. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is what we do now. We go live every day, well, Monday to Friday, at 4 o'clock to give you the latest Manchester United news because there's plenty of it. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and confidant, Joe Smith.
I'm going by a new name now.
Go on.
Dirtfinger.
Dirtfinger?
Yeah.
Where have you got that one from?
Well, it's my. I've been learning to play guitar, so it's my blues name.
It sounds slightly disgusting.
I can see why you say that, but it's nothing untoward.
Yeah. Is that Joe McGrath who's just walked past there?
He just walked past. Forget about him, Joe. We've got too much to talk about today. What's
there
going
he is.
on?
All right, Joe. You all right? He's just done that like, you know what I mean? Like the mature person that he is.
What are we talking about today, Jay?
We're talking about Joe McGrath going like that off camera.
Disgusting pig.
We're going to be talking about, right? I've done it, Joseph.
What have you done?
I've proper fully drank the Kool-Aid again.
Have you?
Like, training clips don't mean anything. They're meaningless.
Have you seen how stern?
I know. I'm watching.
He's so firm.
I was telling you like this is Scott. I've watched like 4 10-second clips and convinced myself that Erik ten Hag is the second coming of Sir Alex Ferguson. It's like, what is this? It's meaningless, but I'm buying into it. There's also the transfer rumours as well, where again players I know barely anything about. Looks like we're gonna get him, and I'm convinced that's it. I'm like, this is it. If you put the training pics and these players I didn't hear of last week or hadn't heard of last week together, 21 is coming. It's really scary how unstable I am.
It is exciting though, isn't it?
It is exciting. So we're going to be talking about that. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about the Lisandro Martinez rumours, the Tyrell Malacia rumour, the Christian Eriksen story. Also, the training pics, what do you think of them? Any clips? Is that doing anything for you? Are you getting excited or are you like, Jay, get a grip? And we're going to talk about another story as well, which is about as left field as you can get. And that's the Sergio Romero back to United story, which I'm even having difficulty saying out loud because I think it's so ridiculous.
Because it's just so sad.
It's just like, me and you stood through there, talking about Sergio Romero's departure from United, which can, best described as problematic and tempestuous.
Nice.
It was, wasn't it? It was pretty horrible.
Yeah.
The way he was like, he was almost treated, or he was making out like he was treated as though he was a prisoner.
Yeah.
His missus got involved in all sorts. It's never a good look when your missus is publicly slagging off your employers, sorry. Anyway, he eventually left, and now let's talk of him coming back. So we'll get into that. But let's start with Lisandro Martinez. Because that's the one where there's a bit more intrigue.
There is a bit more intrigue, and Fabrizio Romano has been speaking today, and he said that Martinez is open to negotiate with United and Arsenal. United haven't put an official bid in, but are in contact with the player's agent. Right? Arsenal have made a €40 million bid with add-ons and are pushing this week, apparently, as Arteta is a big fan of the player. Is there part of you that just wants to get him to annoy Arsenal because really you have major concerns over whether he's good enough for Man United?
You just absolutely nailed my complete thought process.
Yeah.
When you say, is there part of you? No,
that
is
all of you.
Yeah, that is it.
The entire
I'm going to put it out there, and I know I should do better homework. Yeah, I get that. I know next to nothing about this guy other than what I read from people that know more, right?
I like that.
He may be amazing. He may be terrible. I don't know. I trust the manager. I do. Yeah. And if the manager's worked with him and says, I want him, then I trust that. But the main reason I want to get him is because Arsenal want him. Yeah. Arsenal obviously really do want him. Arsenal think the big time they're not. So we should get him.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a sickening jealousy that you suffer from, Jay. And there's only one cure.
What's that?
And that is getting the
Arsenal
one.
Yeah,
it's a weird one where it goes the other way. Normally, you have to refrain from your urges. Yeah. With this, just get him.
Yeah,
and you'll feel better.
And the funny thing is, right, if Arsenal get him, and you'll probably see it on my socials, I'll dismiss him as a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
If we get him, he's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
A 5'9" wimp.
Yeah.
Who can't, use either foot because they're what? In Highbury. Do you know what I mean? Hibernating.
How old is he? How old's Lisandro Martinez?
I think he's 24.
Right. So that's the narrative, yeah? This is it, right?
Yeah, he's 24.
There's a reason he's still in the Dutch league at 24.
I love this, right? So here's the first thing we're going to do. The first we're going to do is Man United have signed him. Yeah. What do you say about him?
Well, this is great because what impresses me about this is Erik ten Hag has looked at the Ajax team that he managed.
I love that.
And he's the first player he's wanted from that team. Yeah. His priority has been Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah, we haven't signed anyone else from that team.
No, he's gone, right, the one player I want for that team, first and foremost, is Lisandro Martinez. So he's got to be top quality.
Yeah.
Because he knows that entire team. He probably knows who he can get and the price it'll cost.
Player of the season.
Player of the season, he's gone, him.
Yeah.
And don't forget as well, he's doing this after he's taken a training session.
Exactly. And also, Jay, what would you say to people that say 5'9" is very small for a centre-back in the Premier League? We can't really think of many examples of any successful centre-back being that short. What would you say about those detractors?
3 words.
Yeah.
Paul Parker.
Yeah.
Right? He played at QPR and Fulham as a centre-back, and he was genuinely one of the best in England.
Yeah.
Right? And he was 5'3".
Okay.
So there's the proof.
Okay, and now let's change the scene to he's just signed for Arsenal. What are your thoughts on Lisandro Martinez, Jay?
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, have we ever?
Dodged one,
And
right?
he's only as small as a bullet as well.
Exactly. I mean, when's the last time you had a centre-back that was that small? You'd have to go all the way back to Paul Parker or something like that.
And even he.
Yeah, even he was at right back when he came to United. Because Fergie's like, I can't be a centre-back, you're too small.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and the fact that Eric Ten Hag has almost allowed Arsenal to get him.
In a
He's
way-
not fought for him, has he?
Can I push that a step further, Jay?
Go on.
Ten Hag has tricked Arsenal into
Yeah.
buying him. Do
He's
you know what I mean?
convinced him.
Oh, I want him. Do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, right.
See you later. Has he signed
Right.
on the dotted line? Never wanted him anyway, mate.
And I've
Perfect.
I've heard this. And when I say I've heard this, I might have just made it up.
Yeah.
That Ajax won the title in spite of Lisandro Martinez, not because of
It
it.
was a player of the season, but it was more of a sympathy vote at the time.
It was one of them.
How it was
you know,
considered
like
amongst the people who in the
look
know.
at him. He's a bit. Well, let's just give him player of the season. Give him a pat on the head and that. So
There
I'm
you
just
go.
massively relieved.
That's to everyone at home. So if he goes to Arsenal, we use the second clip, and if he comes to United, we'll just use the first clip. It's literally that simple. Is that
so
right, Callum? You
simple.
just cut the one out, whichever way it ends up. Thank you very much. So anyone watching this video in 2 weeks' time won't know what we're on about, but that's what it's going to be. So it's really, really simple stuff. It does seem as though they're slightly ahead of United, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They've put the bid in. They've gone for it. I reckon if you're him, though, and I know you can look at Arsenal finished technically above United last season. Technically, you know, they did. You know, if you want to really drill into the facts and figures of it all, the stats.
Technically.
Yes,
I love
Arsenal
that.
technically finished above Man United.
Technically, you know, City are the champions.
Yeah, if
You know, if you're gonna start going down that road
Yeah.
of like, you know, facts and evidence.
ooh, look at me, I'm into league tables,
Yeah.
nerds.
I know
Right.
all these nerds that look at you know, facts and that. I'm just not into it. I've never bothered with that.
No, so yes, technically Arsenal finished above Man United last season, but United is still a bigger team.
Yeah.
To be honest, you're going to get paid more at United, which shouldn't be the only reason you'd come, but human beings are human beings. You're probably more likely to finish higher up the table because statistically over the last decade, we have finished above Arsenal more often than not. Like, we are more likely to get Champions League because they rarely to ever get it these days, and United still get it, you know, most seasons. So it's not like it would be ludicrous for him to prefer United. Also, the manager that you know knows you, because that's a big thing as well. Like, you know, Zlatan has played under Guardiola, but he hates him. Whereas he's played under Ten Hag. Obviously, they get on well. He played him every week. That would be a big draw. And I think if United went for him and really wanted him, I think we would get him. Because we've got more money than Arsenal.
Yeah.
The relationship is better, and we're a bigger team than
The
Arsenal.
only sort of worry I have slightly is sometimes players do want to live in London. They do. They just think, oh, you know, it's London. I know that sounds daft, but it's just a thing that some players is like, go to England, I want to live in London.
Yeah.
But this thing that happens quite a lot, and I think it's sort of driven by Arsenal fans more than anything. And it's like United and Arsenal have been in the same boat since 2013 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, we're both rubbish, and we're both this, and we're both that. And you think that's not actually true in terms of where the clubs are at.
No.
United haven't had a good spell. I'm not going to pretend they have. We've just gone 5 years without a trophy. But we've also finished second during that period twice. When's the last time Arsenal? We finished second under Jose. We finished second under Ole.
We finished third under Ole as well.
Finished third under Ole as well. Now, I know it's not a wins the parade and all that, but Arsenal have been finishing 8th practically every season.
Yeah.
5th one season. I think they finished second when Leicester won the league. But the last sort of 5 or 6 years, they've been nowhere near the top of the table at all. And United, even during our pretty unsuccessful, dodgy period, have still been the second best team in England.
Yeah.
And there's also this narrative, oh, well, it's similar in it. You've got an untested manager. You've got an untested... Well, no, you haven't. No. You've got a manager who, in 3 years at Arsenal, his best position is 5th, against a manager who's just coming in, having won 3 titles in 4 years. The only time he didn't win a title at Ajax was because there was no one title because of COVID. And you've also got the thing of the stature of the clubs. It's not the same.
No.
You name the top 5 clubs in the world, the top 5 clubs are probably like so Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Juve, and United.
Yeah.
It's not Arsenal.
No.
Arsenal in that conversation. Do you know what I mean? It's just not.
No.
So there's so many reasons that United would be a better option for Lisandro Martinez. The only thing is, as like I said earlier, he may well just think, I fancy living in London, or I'd rather settle down there, or whatever. But you would think that if United pay what Ajax want, if the wages are right, because of the relationship he's got with Erik ten Hag, and because it is Manchester United, who are one of the biggest clubs in the world, that he can make it happen. Although it's never quite set in stone. I remember when we were in for Aaron Ramsey, and I'm going back a bit here, and all the sort of fingers or everything, all the indicators were that he was going to come to United. You know, Ferguson's still the manager, much bigger club, much more successful club, and all the rest of it. Arsenal think did a deal where they said to Cardiff or whatever, you know, you can have him back on loan, and he quite liked that idea. Cardiff liked that idea, and he ended up going there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have these little sort of reasons that end up scuppering your deal, but yeah, I'd fancy him to come to United if Erik ten Hag wants him. I think he can make it happen.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, we're still waiting for that sort of big next update. Arsenal put a bid in. It doesn't seem to be any sort of public announcement of whether that's been accepted or not. United still in contact. United want to deal with him as well, apparently. I just wonder what exactly is the hold up at this point, because, you know, Ajax, if they're getting the money they want, surely they'd accept it. Maybe there's still some way to go in terms of the fee. Should we talk about Romero a little bit?
Yeah.
Before we get on to the likes of training.
Can you send producer Callum Sergio Romero wife Instagram? I literally Google.
How often do you Google this?
At least once a day. But it should be there, a picture. You send that to Callum and we'll get it on the screen. This is a story that I saw come from, I think, the Manchester Evening News. And this is what they do sometimes at MEN. They word things in a way which makes you think something's happening. And when you scratch beneath the surface, it's not happening at all. And the sort of story or the headline is this idea that Sergio Romero could be heading back to Manchester United because of, you know, I think he's a free agent now, and you know, he could be coming back and all this sort of stuff. But when you look at it, it's not that's not the case at all. It's just a case of he's available and he was at United. That is it.
Do you think that? Do you think that's all there is to it?
Yeah.
So his wife has.
Have you seen the post that I'm on about?
This one?
No. Yeah. Go back into Google. Go back into your thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to go in it. It's that.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Just
sorry. Let me send you this, Callum.
So this thing of Sergio Romero was at United. He had some success at United. Obviously, played in the Europa League final when we won it, and I think he played in all the rounds as well. Played in a lot of the League Cup games when we won the League Cup. Was a bit of a cult hero almost with a lot of United fans. He seems to have this thing of like Sergio Romero is, you know, he's amazing. He nicked the Radamel Falcao chant, didn't he? Yeah. So was quite a popular figure. It went south. Very bitter departure. He wanted to go a lot sooner than he did. His wife got involved. I think you can see it on the screen there. This was his wife's post. I mean, that's as bad as it can get in terms of.
Worked hard for this club. Last trophy they won, they lifted it with him. He helped the team reach 4 finals and semi-finals, and then he was left on the bench only to lose them all. It's time for them to return the opportunity and let him go. Respect for once.
I mean, listen, I'm all for your missus having your back and all that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a bit OCT. He was paid a lot of money to sit on that bench, and he knew when he came in his 30s, I think, when we got him, that he was going to be sitting on the bench behind David De Gea. So I'm not quite buying into this narrative that he was mistreated. I don't think that's quite accurate. Anyway, he's gone. Bringing him back will be up there with bringing like Victor Valdez back, or you know what I mean? He was another one who left.
And also, like you said, like did he not hate it?
Yeah.
Was he not fuming? Of like, what is that? Like how? Surely you have some agency over whether someone posts on your behalf like that. Like, you would hope she at least ran it by him first. Or even if she didn't, that is a conversation they presumably must have had with
I can't
each other.
imagine he found that out when he went on his Insta.
No, exactly. Or that sentiment. Or he was always like, yeah, I don't mind it really. You know, the contract's running out next season. I'll have to stay another year. And then his wife's gone and said that. I imagine that is the nature of the conversation they were having. Whether he wanted her to post that publicly is another matter. Who knows? That's not a surprise, surely.
You were talking about Daley Blind last night. You made a good point about the fact that, it's that sort of thing of people look back on him as though he was decent for United, Daley Blind. He was all right. But people look back at him as though he was amazing and we shouldn't let him go. And this sort of, he's so good. He was our best defender and all this. And with Romero, there's a little bit of that. I liked Sergio Romero at United. I thought he was a good goalkeeper. I thought he was a good number 2.
Yeah.
And he did a good job, especially in 2017 when he, like I said, he played in the Europa League and we won it. but he wasn't amazing. He
No.
wasn't like Edwin van der Sar.
No.
It's like, is this narrative now? Like, he was so good, and also he's not got any better.
No.
He's probably worse than he was when he was at United the first time. He left
he's
under a
35
cloud.
now.
Yeah, he's not going to come back. He was going to come back and sit on the bench again.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. I just think it's one of those where, as I said earlier, if you scratch beneath the surface of the story, it isn't a case of Sergio Romero, we're in for him, or even that he's indicated massively that he wants to come. It's like he's open to the idea of coming to United. What does that mean?
No. And also, like that, if it was so shit for him before, why would he want to come back? Like, I remember there were people on social media that were saying Solskjaer's ruined his career. It's so disrespectful. It's a disgrace how he's being treated. You were bought as a number 2 goalkeeper. That is an acceptance of the fact that you will play anywhere between 20 and 0 games a season.
Yeah.
You are accepting that when you are a number 2 goalkeeper, especially when the managers come and change and go. It wasn't the same manager that bought him that was being, people were insisting played him. He didn't, Ole didn't buy Romero.
No.
Ollie didn't get him in, and it's like it's a disgrace. It's so unfair on someone. It's like, shut up. You're a second choice goalkeeper. You might well play 0 games a season. That's the game. That is it.
It's like as well. Like again, I remember, was it Wolves getting involved in a chat in the comments as well? I think it was Wolves in the FA Cup where he came in, and we got knocked out.
Yeah, and
he didn't have a good game.
No, he had a stinker actually.
Yeah, and
I
it's
think
like,
he let a goal in like dead early on.
yeah,
Didn't he?
and you're like, yes, by and large, he did play well when he played for Manchester United, but it wasn't like he was, oh my God, this guy needs to start. It wasn't that kind of thing at all. And I think there was a little bit of, again, that sort of absence makes the heart grow fonder. And we see it with a lot of players. I've seen it on socials where people are going, oh, Blind, Herrera, Romero, all these players would be so much better off. And I didn't necessarily want Herrera, for example, to go. But now, where we are now, we've got to move on from these guys. It's done. We don't want him back, any of them.
It's
Do you know what I mean?
Like, you see it on, like, 2 or 3 years after we won the league where people were talking about Van Persie, or like he'd have a good game for Fenerbahce and people would be like getting back in. And it's like
Memphis is another one.
But it's like, even when it was looking to kind of bring back people that had won the league for United, it was still, we probably shouldn't do that. Let alone, let's try and relive the 2018 season.
Yeah.
Like, that was some glory year that we should, you know what, let's get Herrera back, let's get Blind back, let's get Romero back, and let's get ourselves a fucking semi-final and a 5th place finish. That's what this club needs. Those players that weren't good enough to win us anything the first time, or we did, we won a Europa League and, like, was it 4 finals and semi-finals? Let's try and replicate that, but with the same players who are now in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
That's the successful option to do. Let's not do that, actually. Let's move on a bit.
It's not right, is it? It's nonsense. And I think there's a bit of mischief making going on with MEN, to be fair.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think there is a real story here. I know people have got involved, and I've been guilty of it myself. I was like, this isn't happening, there's no way it's going to happen. And that's what they want. They want to generate a bit of discussion and some clicks. But I would be I'd be astonished if Sergio Romero ever played. I'd be astonished if he ever played in the Premier League, and let alone if he played in the Premier League for Manchester United. I just don't see it happening. Is there any chats, anything in the comments?
Yeah, we've got a few comments. People saying he would be on a free as he's just been released by Venezia. Yeah, it would be a free, but again, it doesn't.
But you're getting a player back, who left under a cloud, who was all right when he left. Don't get me wrong, he was a decent goalkeeper, but I don't necessarily think that he's what we need now. Or the idea with I get a reserve keeper as a reserve keeper. But you want someone who, if something happens to your first choice keeper, can do a job. Is Romero still that guy? I'm not so sure. I just, it's not going to happen. I just don't see it happening for the reasons we've already been through. Should we talk about the training? Because this has got us all excited, hasn't it?
Yeah.
These sort of little TikTok
clips, the
montages of training, which really and truly don't tell you anything, if we're being honest. No. Erik ten Hag doing passing drills for 11 seconds doesn't tell you whether we're good enough to beat City.
No, but there's one bit where he sort of points down the side of his body as though that's where the ball should go, or you should turn a certain way. And then we're doing some one-touch passing drills.
Yeah. It does look good, and I have been guilty of getting excited by it. So I'm a hypocrite to go, really, we shouldn't look too much into it. But yeah, it does. I don't know. It just feels like at the minute everyone's just buzzing, and these things are just exciting.
I'm reading the tweet now that someone said, training footage from Ten Hag's first session with Man United. I can't believe he's whipped us into shape so quickly. Best we've looked in years. And it's literally an 18-second video training. Best we've looked in years, Jay.
That, just look who's in the background of that clip there.
Who is it?
It's Juan Mata in it.
Hold the phone. Hold the fucking phone. Hang on a sec. It's the best we've looked in years. And it's from,
years ago.
2 years ago.
People are posting clips.
People have lost their minds,
of
Jay.
training from 2 years ago. I see like Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt running around, and people
Honestly,
going, "Look
Jay.
at this,
Yeah.
we look amazing."
Yeah.
And you go, "Yeah, that's because it's from 1997."
That's interesting. Jonathan Greening looks back to his best, Jay. Wait, that's it's definitely new because Steve McLaren's in it. It's definitely new.
Look at Ronnie, he's rolling back the years.
Yeah, Ronnie Warwick. He's looking great. Fucking hell. It's good though, isn't it? This is what being a football fan's all about. The combine, I know obviously the deals aren't fully done yet, but it looks like De Jong and Malacia are going to get sorted. Combine that excitement with a little boost on the, we're seeing Ten Hag, we're seeing some training. It's so easy to get excited about everything, isn't it?
Just, as a football fan, right, I love being deluded.
Yeah, me too.
I love having that little bit of delusion, that little bit of, 90% of you thinks not a chance, and then there's that 10%, or even sometimes just 5% that thinks, you never know. I love that. Yeah. And it's like you say, it is part and parcel of being a fan. And there was a time when I used to take it for granted. It wasn't even deluded. I'd take it for granted that we was going to win the title because that's what we did most years. Yeah. And now it's like, it never really happens anymore. But when you see the signings or you get linked with signings and you get a new manager, you think, Leicester did it. We're better than them. That sort of shit.
We are better than Can I ring an alarm just very quickly? Can I hit a buzzer?
Yeah.
Make a noise. Do you know what that buzzer was?
What?
That was the I'm starting to get worried about Tottenham buzzer. Because for the last few days I've been like, you know what? I think Basuma a good player, but I think he's got his flaws. Perisic, 33-year-old Perisic ain't going to make them win the league.
You poo-pooed my worry.
To be fair though, when I poo-pooed it, I didn't know they were going to sign Richarlison and Longley.
My main point with the Tottenham thing was the Conte thing. Conte with a full pre-season, getting a few signings in that he wants. I rate Conte. I think Conte will get top four. That was my argument. And that gives us one less top four space, obviously. I get that you were like, Basuma ain't all that, and I agree with that. Perisic, 33 years old, is even starting for him. I understand that. Jed Spence, I don't think they've got him over the line yet anyway. Now what's the latest?
I think Richarlison's really good. I'm one of those people who, I mean, not really on this channel because obviously we don't talk about Everton players very often. But Richarlison used to get a lot of stick all the time, like last year. He was, if you ever actually watched Everton last season, which I'm sure you did, he was like the player that they trusted, and not even just trusted, needed to do everything for them. Did you watch him against Liverpool?
Yeah.
Where the motto was 10 in the box, pass it to Richarlison. That was it. Yeah. And he just ran it all the way down, had half a chance against their entire defence, and sort of put it wide or had a shot blocked, and then they cleared it away and then start again. He did it like 15 times in the game where he just get the ball like 20 yards from his own goal, run all the way down the pitch, dribble past everyone, nearly score, and just repeat. Yeah. It's like, I think he's a good player, Richarlison, and I think he's industrious enough that Conte will love him. I think he's a great option. I don't think Kulusevski's going to keep up this form for an entire season because he's 22 years old. I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's good enough to stay as consistent as he has been so far. I think that's a really good
Is there not a thing, though, like with Richarlison,
it's a lot of money, though,
likes to play on the left where Son plays?
I think he can play across the front. He does play off the left more often, but he can play as
a
number 9.
Cutting on his right foot.
Yeah, he does.
Like, we've seen Son do. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I think Richarlison's all right. I'm not a massive fan. I was a bit surprised when he got him from Watford because...
Really?
Well, he scored 5 in his last season at Watford, I think. And 4 of them came before, like, Christmas. Yeah. And it was, I think, again, forgive me if I'm getting my stats a little bit skew-if, but he seems to just go missing for, like, the second half of the season. Yeah. And they were like, Marco Silva won it, don't mind, he knows him. brought him in. He's done all right at Everton. I think he had his best season was last season.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen that before. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a great season a couple of seasons ago, and then fell off a cliff. I think Richarlison, I just think he's okay.
I think for a versatile forward, he's not like Jota, but I could see a Jota-like trajectory from him. So since he joined Everton, he got 5 goals in 41 appearances for Watford. Pants. But since he's joined Everton, it's been 14, 15, 13, and 11.
Is that in all comps?
That's all competitions.
Okay.
Which obviously isn't loads, but double-digit goals 5 years in a row for someone playing for a team that is anywhere between 10th and 16th or whatever they finished. I think he's pretty good, and he's still only 25. I think he's the sort of player that could go up a notch in a better team with more structure. I don't think he's incredible. He's got 14 and 36 for Brazil as well. I just think you sort of piece it together. It looks like they might be getting Clement Longley as well from Barcelona on loan for a year, who, again, might be a rotation piece, but is another good option who's got experience.
I feel like, you making this point, for me as well, they're getting a squad.
Yeah.
I don't even know if everyone's fit. I don't even know if he starts with Richarlison. They might not. He might just be on the bench or, rotate or whatever. But they have got a squad now, Spurs. And that's always been part of the problem with Spurs, is their fringe players are awful.
Yeah.
Some of their fringe players, I don't think are even Premier League level. And for a team that finished 4th, that's sort of, a bit of a statement. But I just think that some of the players they bring in, you see, and I know we played in the Champions League final, but Harry Winks comes in, you think, he's just a nothing player.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? And it's like...
Is he Joe Allen?
Yeah, he'll run about a bit, and he might stick the odd foot in, but he's just we were linked with him. You're having a laugh. But Richarlison is a player that can do a job. Comes in, rotates or starts, and like you say, he can cause problems. So I get it. Basuma's probably a starter for them. Perisic, I think you're making a point the other day, he probably doesn't start, but again, he's an option, he's a name, innit? You think, even Perisic, I know what he can do, he's a decent player.
Yep.
So they are getting their act together, and I keep going back to it, but I will say it again. Antonio Conte, with a full season, a full pre-season and a full season, he'll do bits.
Yeah.
I think he will. I think it's not all sunshine and rainbows there. There was a time you were pointing out the other day where he was like he's ready to quit.
Yeah.
But if he's backed a little bit, and he has been getting backed, I think he'll be a happier man, and I think he'll get a tune out of him again. Yeah.
He's got a touch of the Jose's to him, hasn't he? Comes in for 3 years. First season, all right, adjusted into his squad. Second season, usually wins the league. I think he won the league in his first season at Chelsea, but he had a pre-season, or certainly started at the beginning of the year.
Right. And don't forget as well that he had that awful run, didn't he, at the beginning? Switched to 3-4-3 at Chelsea and didn't look back.
I think they won 20 of the next 25 games.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. After that change.
Yeah. So he is for me one of the top managers in the world.
But not as good as Erik ten Hag.
No, I wouldn't swap. Scotty asked me this yesterday. He said, would you swap him? No, of course I wouldn't. At the time, if we'd have got him, I'd have been happy because I think he's a good manager.
Yeah.
But I can understand why we've gone for Erik ten Hag, and I'm glad we've got him.
I think getting Ten Hag in as well, especially when you combine that with the switches above him, like Woodward going, Judge going, getting Arnold in, getting Murto and Fletcher and, the assistants that they've brought in. I think it's more of a statement to bring in a manager like Ten Hag, who, I know he's left the club, so you can't really call it tremendous loyalty, but is someone who has stuck with Ajax for 4 years. He's come through and he's stayed there, and he changes teams, and he has his own system and a sort of a style of play that could work long term. Whereas Conte, we know he's going to be there 3 years at a push. I think it's more of a statement to really say we're doing things differently now. We want to settle for the long term. We're not going to get the likes of Jose in again, which is basically Conte is the new Jose, I would say, in terms of how he does things. I think it's more important that we went with someone like Ten Hag than getting Conte in.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with what you're saying there, and I think that with Conte, we've done all this short-termism.
Yeah.
We need to at least try and pretend we're going for long-term. And of all the managers we've ever had, he's the first manager post-Fergie that's on the up.
Yeah.
Moyes was stagnated. He's 10 years at Everton, not really done a lot. You look at Van Gaal when he came in, his best seasons were 20 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Jose, when he came in, he'd just been sacked from Chelsea after leading them to 15th.
Yeah.
And then Ole, his last job in the Premier League was getting sacked at Cardiff. So you can't say those managers were on the up. Erik ten Hag, he's won the title every season he's had at Ajax. I know he's 52, he's not young, but
he's not a child.
He's on his way up, innit? He's
Yeah.
gone from, managing Bayern Munich's Rezzies to being Steve McLaren's assistant or whatever to dominating Dutch football with Ajax for 4 years. So it's definitely, for me, it feels like a move in the positive direction. And you look at the budget we've got and the players we're bringing in.
Yeah.
We're bringing in the players that he knows. That it all makes sense, as the Lightning Seed said.
It does make sense. Talk about Malacia then. Still not like I was expecting like a jump in the news today. I was expecting more of an update because it went from sort of not really being linked with him particularly other than on Twitter to all of a sudden we're the ones that are signing him in under 24 hours. It's kind of been 2 days since then and there's not really been any massive jumps. Are you surprised by that or did you think, now is the time to sort of finalise those details? It'll get done, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I wonder as well whether there's sort of a plan to, maybe this is wishful thinking, but maybe it's like, right, we're going to announce Donny this week, Frankie de Jong this weekend and then we'll get the Malacia deal announced on Monday or something, or finalised on Monday, and whether he's okay with that because he knows it's happening and Feyenoord are okay with it. I did have it in my news this morning that Feyenoord are interested in Tahith Chong. I don't know if that's got any bearing on anything.
Yeah.
I don't even know how solid that rumour was or that story is. Forgive me. I think it was in the Manchester Evening News. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But I'm not overly concerned that we're not going to get Malacia. I think it's just the case of, the exciting news was the fact that we got in ahead of Leon. Everything seems to be agreed. It's just a case of when now. We're just waiting for the old here we go hour.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone having a bit of a go at Ten Hag, saying that he's won a Tin Pot League that Koeman and Frank de Boer have won more times than him.
They've only won it more times than him because they were there longer. I don't think I know he's managed that, but he went into Ajax and won it every year, didn't he?
Frank de Boer did win it 4 times in a row.
Right, but Erik Ten Hag couldn't because of COVID.
That's true.
It's not his fault that one of the leagues was null and void.
No, and they were at the top when it was null and void.
It was there's a good chance if it wasn't COVID, he would have won it 4 times in a row.
And also, the Champions League stuff is important. Winning every single game in a group stage of the Champions League is difficult to do with Real Madrid, let alone Ajax. Getting to the semi-final is difficult to do with any club. Frank de Boer didn't do that.
No.
That was during a time when basically they were irrelevant in Europe. Seemingly that wasn't really a threat that they had. They didn't beat Juventus and Real Madrid over 2 legs, both of them. That's incredibly difficult to do, especially when Real Madrid at the time were, I think, reigning champions. If not, they'd won 3 of the last 4, whatever it was. So
very much there was a strong Champions League
it's not
team.
the same, is it?
So,
and maybe he won't be good enough.
Yeah.
But I don't think using Koeman, who, again, whilst he isn't everyone's cup of tea, has since gone on to manage Barcelona, quite spectacularly badly. But it's not like someone who's never done anything. Frank de Boer hasn't really done a lot since then, but it's not the same thing, is it, necessarily? But
no, it's easy to go, oh, well, they did that in Holland, so he's going to do the same. Well, they did that at Ajax, so he's going to do the same. And I think it is a little bit unfair because you can't always compare things like that. We got Memphis from the Dutch League. He was terrible. We got Ruud van Nistelrooy from Dutch League. He was amazing. Yeah. We got Jaap Stam from Dutch League. He's one of the best players I've ever seen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We got, I don't know, Daley Blind. He's from Holland. He wasn't that great. Yeah. It's just not. It's not a thing. All you can look at is the manager's record, especially the last few years. What he's done, like you say, domestically and in Europe. The players he's worked with. Let's not forget as well. One thing that, unfortunately, United would have been attractive as well is the fact that he lost loads of players and carried on having success. Yeah. He lost De Jong, he lost Van der Beek, of course, he lost De Ligt, he lost Ziyech, and what did he do? He won the title. He lost the core of his team, and he kept winning.
Yeah, he didn't rebuild 2 years later he won it again. He won it every year anyway. Yeah. That's and really
also
difficult to do.
He was pushed all the way. His record, if you look at those leagues. He barely lost. Yeah. Barely conceded. Yeah. It wasn't a league where it was up and down and everyone's all over the gaff. It was, you know what I mean? Especially this season, it was so sort of you have to be almost perfect to win it.
Well, last season they drew 5, lost 3, scored 98 goals, conceded 19 in 34 games.
What was the points tally?
And they only finished 2 points ahead of PSV. Who scored 13 less and conceded 23 more.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
And we need to stop being so dismissive. Oh, it's Dutch league. It's rubbish. If it's Dutch league and it's so rubbish, why did he go into the acting and not won it for 4 years? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I understand the argument. I'm not dismissing it completely. There is a little worry there where you go, De Boer and Koeman and other managers as well historically have done well in Holland and failed elsewhere. Yeah. But with Ten Hag, I do feel a little bit more positive about him because of what he's done in Europe, because he's had to rebuild, because of the nature of those league wins as well, because of what he inherited and how he progressed it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that we just have to be patient with him. I just think we've got to be like, okay, he's coming into a United side that is as bad as a United side I've seen in the Premier League, probably.
Yeah.
And it's going to take him a little while to get us where we need to be.
Yeah. Paul Cushion says, Joe, any idea when the new kit launch will be? Apparently it's tomorrow. That's according to I can't remember what it is now. Footy
Leaks or something
Footy
like
Leaks,
that.
something like that. Any idea when the new kit launch will be? And are we waiting to announce Frenkie de Jong and the new kit? I think that could be possible, you know. If it's going to be done in the next couple of days and the new kit is being launched tomorrow, assuming that's true, it would make sense to announce him in the new kit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Immediately boost sales. Also, those pictures are then usable for the whole season on social media. Whereas, and the club do think about these things. Whereas, if you take pictures of him in last season's kit, then those pictures are really no longer usable as soon as the new one is out. And why not wait an extra day and do it all at the same time? That doesn't surprise me. I think maybe once that new kit's out, we will see official announcements coming out.
Your man makes a great point in the chat there, and it could happen, couldn't it? Because people get excited. He's a player we wanted. New kit's out. It's positive vibes. Remember the Raphael Varane announcement for the Leeds game? That was amazing. I was at the game. Brilliant. I was buzzing anyway because we're back in the ground. It's a full Old Trafford for the first time in 2 years, whatever it is. It's Leeds. Well, we all hate Leeds. And then just before the game, you get an email. Look to my email, and it's like they've announced Varane. That's a bit weird. Like we've just done it now. And the next thing, he walks out the tunnel, and everyone's going berserk. It was mint. So yeah, kind of makes sense.
Henry Cisner says, any kit number rumours? I've heard there's going to be one big number on the back and then a little number on the shorts.
No.
But don't tell anyone that because it's not been confirmed that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it be good if they did the numbers on the front for once? do something different. Do you know what I mean? Numbers on the front, sponsor on the back.
Yeah, why not?
Why
do
not?
Things differently.
Yeah, why did they? Because I can imagine originally they didn't have anything on the front, did they? It was literally just a number on the back and not even the badge on the front. So I can understand why they didn't want to tarnish the front. But now you can have words and sports mole or whatever Everton are sponsored by. You could have the number on the front.
Did you hear this thing?
They do it on international football.
I need to look into this properly. There was never any green and gold new kit.
I have heard that.
Yeah,
but apparently there's
never any reference to it, and there's no photos of it or anything else you'd see before. It was before photos. There's no reference to it in any writing about United. There's nowhere where it says United wore green and yellow or green and gold. It was the Adidas kit in 1993 that brought that in.
Yeah.
Based on you obviously can see the shades in pictures, but you can't see what colour it is. So they chose green and gold, and that's where that's come from.
I heard that.
But I don't know if people in the chat, if you can find evidence of it.
I've seen that theory that the green and gold thing was actually invented in the 90s.
Yeah.
I think that isn't true. No. I think that I saw a response to it. I can't remember it might have been when they were still Newton Heath. It might not be.
That's what I mean.
Or it might have been after when they'd become Man United. I think they have had a yellow and green kit at some point before that 90s one, because I remember seeing that conspiracy theory of United actually never had that. Right. But I think there is. one.
Okay, because I think my dad or someone was telling me this the other day, and I was like, I've heard this rumour. I've not looked into it properly.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to find out if that is the case, just as just a bit of intrigue, really, about the history of Manchester United, because, I think it was always associated with Newton Heath. Oh, we were Newton Heath, we wore green and gold. Yeah. That's what I always thought, anyway.
I don't think it was the actual, the home kit was green and gold. I think they've had a green and gold kit at some point. It might not have been as Newton Heath, it might have been as Man United, but, pre-war.
Interesting.
But I'm pretty sure there was, because I saw that tweet, and then I saw a response to it saying, no, it is real, but it's not quite how people usually represent it. Right, should we end it there?
Yes, we shall. Thanks to everyone as well that got involved in the chat and the comments. Loads of good stuff as well. We'll keep you posted. Is there any developments with Lisandro Martinez, with Sergio Romero, which I'm amazed if there is, to be honest with you, with Tyrell Malacia, with Christian Eriksen, with Frenkie de Jong, because at the moment it feels like we're in a bit of this sort of waiting game now where a lot of these deals look like they're ready to go. We just got to wait for them to be formally announced, and when they are, we will keep you posted and go live straight away. Make sure you're checking out Joe on the socials, Joe Smith 93, and this podcast with Joe McGrath, the Sloppy Joe's podcast, where he's got a producer extraordinaire on that. Well, don't worry about that. make sure as well you're subscribing to this channel. Let's get what we're on now. We're on about 645,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Let's get 650,000 subscribers by the end of this week. With your support, we can do it. Thanks for watching.